Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to be talking about Zedruu. Before we do though, I just want to thank you for watching on this quest to build every EDH deck possible. Um, Started off over a year ago, just flipped on the camera and some of those early videos were rough. Well, it's not like I've, you know, got a ton of technology. I don't edit or anything. But anyway, Zedruu, uh, way back in when the first Commander set came out, I thought it'd be cool to get a uh, Japanese set. Well, I'll enlighten you as to what Zedruu does. Of course, he's 1 in red, white, and blue mana. He's a 2/4 legendary Minotaur Monk. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is a number of permanents you own that your opponents control. So he plays a little differently, and that last ability, the red, white, and blue : activation there, says target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. So he is giving. I wish I had thought about this earlier. I would have put a little Santa hat on him and we'd have. But anyway, so we are looking at cards that we want to give our opponents, that we want our opponents to have, because we want to trigger that to gaining the life and drawing the cards. Well, first off, we want double upkeeps so that we can. We're pretty far away. Let's see if we can get this a little closer. There we go. So double activations on your upkeep. You know, I say activation double triggers so that you can draw the cards and gain the life. You're going to probably need to be drawing the cards and gain the life. But let's look at cards that we don't want, that we want our opponents to own. First is the first thing to come to mind is the Jinxed Cycle, the Jinxed Idol. It's going to deal damage to them. Yes, they can pass it around. The Jinxed Choker and the Jinxed Ring. By the way, whoever is making all this Jinxed jewelry needs to stop, because that's bad. I wouldn't want that. Now, the most popular card to give an opponent is, of course, Thought Lash. Thought Lash does not see a lot of play. It is on the reserve list. It's not one of those cards that's ever going to be worth anything unless somebody does a random buyout on it. But anyway, Alliances gave us a bunch of different stuff, and this is one of them. I mean, you're going to exile cards from their library regardless, and the idea of just losing their entire library is sick, almost as sick as this twisted artwork. Now, also, we've got the Illusions of Grandeur. We play it, we gain the 20. You donate it to your opponent. That was a deck way back. It was Illusions Donate, and it was great. In a 20 card or in 20 life Magic, it's hard to beat. It's hard to live through. But it works here too, because 4 mana to gain 20 life and not have any drawback is pretty good. Now, aggressive mining. I like that you can play aggressive mining. First, you can play your land. Then you play aggressive mining, sack a land, draw 2 cards, and then give it away to somebody. So, and if this happens early enough, now this is 4 mana, so in theory, it's the turn after you drop Zedruu. So, that really hinders somebody. And getting rid of an enchantment is not the most common thing. Now, the baby version of Illusions is Delusions of Mediocrity. Same thing, but there's no upkeep. But you gain 10, you donate it, and Steel Golem. Steel Golem's another popular card for this commander. Hey, you just You find the deck at the table who is creature reliant. More than likely, there's always a tribal deck present, and you can just, hey, here you go. You can't play any more dudes. Rust Elemental. You give this to the artifact player, so they've got to start sacking their own stuff. Now, I've got a lot of cards here that I want to touch on before I show you this next one. I want to show you confusion in the ranks. Now, this is just random. I love it. There's only, there's certain situations when you won't want to play it in this deck, but you just exchange control. Now, the important part is so confusion in the ranks is in play. Whenever an artifact, creature, or enchantment comes into play, its controller chooses a permanent that shares a type. So if I play an enchantment, then I can swap it with another enchantment that is on the board. Same's true for the artifacts and creatures. But the enchantment that I want to be swapping is Transcendence, because it doesn't actually come into play on your side. Now, yes, this is a kill shot for most of the time. Now, granted, it is 6 mana to cast, and that's pretty late in the game. Well, not for us, but pretty late. But somebody, almost everybody at that point, will probably be 20 or more. So it is a kill shot. Now, the Crown of Doom. I love the fact that they can't give it back to you. Target player other than its owner. By the way, owner states that the card entered the game in your deck. You're the owner. So, a Crow and Horse. And now the Chain Veil is pretty risky. I do not have any Planeswalkers in this deck. It is very, very risky. It is a good way to make friends if somebody does have a walker, and maybe that walker is benefiting you. But odds are you're going to look for the person that doesn't have one. Here again, pretty risky. Gold Knight Castigator. If you're fine with them having a 4/9 flyer, but they take double damage. Bronze Bombshell. It's hard to say because it's another one of those. Boom. 4 mana, 7 damage. Now, Form of the Dragon is another enchantment you would love to give them. It just resets their life to 5, and there's many, many ways to deal with an opponent who's at 5 life. And then, of course, we have the bigger version of the Golem, the Grid Monitor. Now, I only have a few ways to protect Zedruu. I have the boots and the immunity. Let's see what else we got here. My counter magic, I'm only running 3, and it's only because they're colorless blue. Didn't want to go double blue because of the 3 color requirements of the deck. Arcane Denial and Mana Leak. Yes, I am playing Mana Leak in a format where everybody has tons of mana. Probably not the greatest thing, but there are times when it's a hard counter in the early game. Let's look at our mana fixing / ramp. I'm running a bunch of the signets and key runes and things like that to pretty much smooth out the colors. Because with a tricolor deck, you're going to need to have the color mana you need at the time you need it. Then, of course, I've got the colorless staples with the Hedron Archive, the Soul Ring, and, of course, the Mana Vault. Back up here. I guess y'all can see that I'm building the dinosaur decks for the next set. Got to get started on them. They are a-coming. Well, trying to get out of that glare. Okie dokie. Removal. Fell the Mighty. I'm beginning to like Fell the Mighty simply because it's a controllable wrath. Maybe that's good, maybe that's not, but end hostilities, planar outburst, and of course the awesome spot removal of Sword to Plowshare. Now, these are cards that, because Zedruu is an awesome ability, but there is a chance that he may, die a lot, and these are cards that also. Now, I don't have the donate, but I do have the red version here that they just gave us. Harmless Offering. It's pretty good, and I am not digging this glare at all. Let's see if we can't. We'll try to find a spot where there's no. There we go. I guess that's as good as we're going to get. We have the Veldalken Plotter. Now, the Veldalken Plotter, it does come in and swap a land. However, I love that it enters play, because that way we can do crazy shenanigans with the Eldrazi Displacer. Humble Defector is just going to travel the board drawing a bunch of cards. Thank God it doesn't have haste, or it would be just ridiculous. Conjured Currency. It's also going to travel the board. Puka's Mischief, though. At the beginning of your upkeep, you exchange. This depends on mana cost, though, not, type. But it triggers that. You can stack your triggers. Bizarre Trader. Now, this guy is the MVP. Just to give your stuff away. Political Trickery is going to trade your land for that dang Homeward Path out there, because Homeward Path is a real deal, and it's hard for this deck to deal with it, so that's why we've got all of the Ghost Quarters and Field of Ruins and stuff in the land base. Thieves Auction. That's right. You get first pick, and everything just, This Thieves Auction is a great play when Zedruu is not on the board. If Zedruu has died, and you can Thieves Auction the turn before you recast Zedruu, so that, because your permanents are going to end up all over the board as well as everybody else's is, so that's why. Now, I say win condition, other creatures. Psychosis Crawler is certainly a win condition. When you're drawing, they're dealing damage, and this is akin to Mr. Niv. Now, you're also gaining life. I have personally, like I've told y'all before, I've never won a game off Felidar Sovereign, but Upkeep Trigger gained a bunch of life is pretty neat. I say a bunch. I figure on average we're probably going to be doing 3 or 4. Don't know. And of course, Fog Bank, because it flies and it cannot take combat damage, so it's pretty good blocker. And then I have Miss America. Now, Lightning Angel has absolute 0 place in the deck. Yes, I know. She does not. She's the colors, and I've always loved the card, and I don't have a lot of red, white, blue decks, so I want to try to work her in somewhere. And that's why, because just personal preference thing. Now, Stasis, Snare, and Pacifism are also spot removal, but here's the beautiful part about that. You cast it on their creature, and oh look, it can't attack or block. You can then give it away. It's still doing the same thing. It doesn't matter who controls it. It's still pacifying the same creature. So it's an easy giveaway that's not a drawback for you. Thopter Spy Network is in there to combo with the other card that when it comes into play, you swap it. So, you know, they're getting 1/1 Thopters and I'm going to get their dragons or whatever. The splat stick, as we used to call it back in Ice Age, is, hey, don't swing at me with the creature of mine that is yours or whatever. So, yeah, having this as a panic button really helps. Another good panic button is, of course, Coastal Breach, the evacuation or whatnot. But I figure more times than not, you're going to probably be paying 3, maybe even 2 mana for this. So, Stolen Goods. Target opponent exiles top from until they exile a non-land card. You can play it for the free. Now, this is beautiful if they have not mastered the timing of tutors. Because a lot of the tutors, and like Liliana and Vampiric Tutor and Mystical and Enlighten, all that stuff puts it on top of the deck. So, and a lot of people still main phase that stuff. And they will, of course, Lily, you have to main phase, but unless you've given them your chain. But anyway, I've gotten some pretty good cards over the years of Stolen Goods. Dawnbreak Reclaimer. Sorry, I've got that crud that everybody apparently in the state of Tennessee's got. So 5/5 flyers, nothing to sneeze at, you know, and then it's your end step, you and an opponent. So you could potentially buddy up here and get some. Now, attunement looks a little out of place here. But I'll explain attunement. The reason why it's in here is because, number one, it helps you dig. It helps you dig a lot. And number two, it's actually not bad to donate to somebody. Yes, they can return it to your hand for them to draw 3 and discard 4. But, hey, that's fine too. It's not a, yeah, and you're thinking, what? But you just got another permanent back that you can recast again and give away again. It is also a, hey, I'm making friends. Of course, with drawing all the cards, we're going to need a spell book. Now, I'm playing with Arena of the Ancients because it doesn't matter if our general is tapped or untapped. It still works and still does the same thing. But you know what? Ooh. It shuts down a lot of decks. A lot of the decks that have reliance on commander damage. And poor Sissay, bless her heart. The last card that we have is, of course, Pyromancer's Swath. No. I have no clue why I sleeve this card in this deck. We are not dealing instant or sorcery damage. Tell you what, let's take this card out. My bad, y'all. It's what happens when you build several decks at the same time. And we're going to put in a Triskelion. For a couple of reasons. One, that Eldrazi Displacer makes Triskelion badass, and the Triskelion was handy right here on the desk. But anyway, that is what I have got for Zedruu. I'm looking through the lands here, and I don't think there's anything weird or out of the ordinary. I do appreciate y'all watching. Like I said, it's a heck of a road that we're on. Right now, there's 700 and something commanders, and this is 230 something. We're getting 9 more. Like I said, 9 more. With the next set, I've got those 3 over there that I haven't even started yet. But it's a ride. We'll get there. It's going to be a slow ride because they keep printing them all, you know. But that's okay. It's fun. I love it. It's what we do. Right now, I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But we're going to shuffle and cut